Ever looked at your shelves with a blank stare and thought, how am I going to decorate these? Well, I certainly have. And after a lot of trial and error, I have come up with 10 tips that have helped me to decorate my shelves. Hopefully, one of these will help you. First and foremost, I try not to overfill my shelves. I've definitely been guilty of this in the past, where you love all these accessories and you want to put all of them on the shelf at one time and everything's stacked on top of each other, and at any moment, everything's going to topple out. Have you been guilty of that? I have learned to streamline my accessories. By doing this, it helps individual pieces to shine. For instance, on this shelf, I have a large ginger jar, I have a flower arrangement, and then I have a marble tray with an acanthus leaf wreath in the back. I have 3 distinct elements. You can see each one of them individually, and collectively they make up a beautiful display. I look at this tip as like putting on jewelry. I actually had on a necklace earlier. So I have on my big earrings, I have on a bracelet, I have on my rings, I had on a necklace. The necklace was just too much, so I took it off. Look at that in the same light as you do on your shelves and your displays. Put everything out there and then take a piece away. By doing this, it will elevate the look of your display. So edit down your decor pieces to create a streamlined design. Tip number 2, I like to use odd numbers, the 3s, the 5s, the 7s. It's pretty simple. The rule guideline of 3 says that things arranged in odd numbers are more appealing, more memorable, and effective than even numbered groupings. As you can see, all of my design elements are grouped into 3s. I have 3 design elements on each one of my shelves. On the top shelf, I actually have a round marble Lazy Susan that I am repurposing into a display element. I'm placing that Lazy Susan on top of a frame holder. Now this frame holder began black. Black isn't going to fit into this particular color scheme, so that's an easy fix. I just got some gold spray paint and I spray painted this frame holder. I saved myself some money doing this because I didn't have to go out and buy a new frame holder. I simply added my marble tray to the top of this frame holder. In front of this marble tray, I added a gold acanthus leaf wreath. And what I did was I just put it right up against the marble tray. By doing this, it acts as one cohesive element, but it adds interest and it breaks up all of the white marble, and the gold adds some sheen and some shine. So this is my first element in my grouping of 3. To the far side, I have a ginger jar, which I placed on top of some books. And then in the center, I have a floral arrangement. In my opinion, grouping these things in sets of 3 really make my displays look beautiful. My next tip is to bring in organic elements. So I'm going to be using flowers for mine. You could use plants, geodes, quartz, some rocks, any kind of natural element helps bring those outdoors in, and it also helps bring some life into your displays. I always love decorating with flowers. So for me, the natural choice is to use flowers. However, there are a large variety of ways you can bring that natural element into your displays. To create my flower arrangements, I'm using a regular kitchen bowl and some Scotch tape. I pulled the tape out and spanned the distance of the bowl. I did 2 tape lines horizontally and 2 tape lines vertically to create my grid. I'm also using some flowers, and I love bending the stems on my flowers, that way they can be used again. So I just bent the stem and I placed them inside of my tape grid. These flowers are from the Dollar Tree, and again, all I'm gonna do is just bend those stems and then place them inside of the tape grid, which will hold them in place. And finally, I got some magnolia leaves for some green accents, and now we're all done. My next tip is don't neglect the back of your shelves. For instance, I added mirrors to the top and the lower shelf on my entertainment wall. These mirrors reflect everything back into the room. So it tricks your eye into thinking that there really is something on the shelf when there is not. Pretty clever, right? If you have something that's beautiful on the opposite side of your shelving, a mirror is a great thing to put on the back. I'm also using some framed artwork. I created this artwork as a Hor Chow dupe, and it looks perfect on the back portion of my shelf on this side. So remember, don't just use the actual shelf as a display, use the back portion, because again, it's another way that you can beautify your shelves. My video is part of a collaboration with several very talented YouTube ladies. The theme today is Valentines, and you'll see how I'm going to add Valentines into my bookshelves in just a bit. So make sure that you head to the playlist and watch the videos that these ladies create. I'm sure they have some very creative and wonderful projects for you to see. Now let's talk about height variation. Now, if all of my pieces were in one straight line, that would be pretty boring. So we're gonna add some interest by changing the heights. Over on this side, we're gonna start off with a tall element. In the center, we're gonna drop down to a low flower arrangement, and then we're gonna go back up to the tall ginger jar. So it's like a V. V's and W's, these curves like this, help your eye to move through a space. So ways that you can get height variations are with obviously different height objects. I added my ginger jar on top of some books. Books are a great way to add more interest to your display and also height. And then I'm also using some frame holders to elevate my elements and give them, again, a lot of different height variation. My next tip is color. Now, I like to stick to a cohesive color scheme. In my displays, I'm using whites, golds, and some neutral accents. I think keeping things neutral is classic and timeless. However, you can pick whatever color scheme you want and that fits in with your decor. Now, I am positive I will be changing out the color scheme on my shelves. I love blue and white and all kinds of other colors, especially for the changing holidays and seasons. The reasoning behind why I keep a cohesive color scheme is because I want your eye to be drawn to everything. If I had a bright pop of purple that I put right here, your eye is immediately going to be drawn to that purple piece. So by keeping things neutral, your eye is easily able to move across all elements in your design. My next tip is layering. Layering adds depth and dimension. So for example, on the bottom of my shelf, I have a scalloped marble tray, and I added my floral arrangement to the top. Behind my floral arrangement, I have a square marble tray that I placed again on another frame holder, which started out black. And again, I took some gold spray paint and I painted it so it was gold, and now it fits in with my color scheme. And I didn't have to buy anything. So again, I'm just repurposing items that I already have in order to save money. In front of my marble tray, I put one of those acanthus wreaths in the gold color scheme, and I pressed it up against the marble tray so it acts as one piece. So you can see how I've layered things. I started at the bottom. I have my tray. I put my flower arrangement on top. I put the marble tray behind, and then I put the acanthus wreath in front of the tray. So I have a lot of layers, a lot of depth. I'm also layering my items in order of height. I'm starting at the back where it's the tallest, and I'm working my way forward where it's the shortest. Layering adds interest to your shelving display, and it also contributes to an even flow. The next tip is using texture. I have a lot of texture in my displays. The first one is I'm using a lot of marble. Marble can be cold and heavy, and it's obviously very solid. So in order to offset that, I'm using some light textures like my flowers. They're very airy, they're bright, and it softens the marble so it's not so harsh. I also have some canvas that's on my framed art, and that is offset by the hard beads that are on the actual art itself. In my display, the books are my soft element because they have the soft pages. They are at the bottom of my ginger jar to give them height. So my ginger jar is solid and hard, and my books are acting as my softer material. You can also use combinations like fabric or leather, faux fur, and you can juxtapose that with the harder elements of glass, wood, metals, lucite. So combining textures adds some beautiful interest and combinations to your display. The next tip is blending a variety of shapes and sizes. I have some large circles, and these are my curve shapes. They come in the form of my large round marble tray, the acanthus wreaths, and also the ginger jars have beautiful curves which contribute to that circular shape. I'm also bringing in geometric shapes with that square marble tray. To coordinate with that geometric shape, I have the rectangular framed artwork in the exact same position on the opposite shelf. And then above, I have a rectangular container for my flower arrangement. Combining soft curves with more angular, sharp curves gives your display variation. Now, my video is part of a collaboration and the theme is Valentine's, so you may be wondering how I'm going to do that. Well, I don't like to go all out for Valentine's in my decorating, but I do like to add little bits and pieces of Valentine flair throughout the house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my already designed shelves and I'm going to add some little Valentine elements. At the top, I'm going to add a love sign, and I added a few little white and gold hearts to hang down from the sign. In my floral arrangements, I'm going to add a few of these cardstock hearts, again in white and gold, which coordinate with my color scheme. And then I'm just going to scatter a few more hearts throughout the display. And just like that, I have now themed my bookshelves in Valentine's. You could do the same thing with St. Patrick's Day. You could add some little shamrocks. You could add some little Easter eggs for Easter. You could put some flags in for the 4th of July. There are a lot of small elements that you can add to your existing display to theme it in the changing holidays and seasons. I hope at least one of these 10 tips will help you in decorating your shelves. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.